Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together.
Hi everyone and welcome to Left Field. It's a pretty cool view of local sports from right here. I want to start this episode by pointing out that every group has that one friend who's good at everything, or so it seems. You go to play tennis, they win. You play Madden or FIFA, they win. You play bingo, they win. They just seem to pick up things so easily. Hazleton area high school athlete Joe Grulla takes this to a whole other level. All right, so here now with Joe Grulla. I'm currently senior at the Hazleton area high school, and this story stemmed from 2 years ago. You were at track practice. I don't even know how I was interviewing you because you're having so much success, and you just started it as a sophomore.
Yeah, I was always kind of athletic. I just try to be as well-rounded as possible.
Does that drive some people nuts, or I mean, like in your family, or?
They think it's kind of funny that I just started doing this and did so well.
I said things come easy to me. You know, the family kind of, laughs at me sometimes, but that's where this came from. I wanted to challenge you in something I'd have a chance at. So Tecmo Bowl I've been playing since the 80s, man. So we're gonna give this a try.
All right.
How did you know to be the Raiders with Bo Jackson?
Oh, well, I watch a lot of YouTube, and I'm sure it was on like top 10 most overpowered players in a video game, something like that. So,
but did you know who the Raiders were when you looked at this? Were you
no,
like,
honestly,
okay,
I was freaking out. I was like, yo, I don't see Oakland up here.
Is Oakland or Las Vegas? So when did you realize, like, hey, I'm pretty good at basketball. This is something that maybe I should stick with or really concentrate on?
Probably when I was in 7th grade. I quit the band. I played saxophone. Quit the band, started focusing more on basketball, and that's when I decided that I should probably get good at this so I could, I don't know, do something with my life.
So, wait a minute, let's go back to the band then. So you're gifted musically as well. What were you playing in the band? What were you doing?
For 2 years I played the alto saxophone, and then I switched over to the baritone.
When did music come into your life? I mean, was that something too you're always?
My music teacher was my neighbor.
Okay.
So he got me into it. Like I was saying, right now, if I have to say this, I bought a didgeridoo.
Did you really?
And I've been playing that recently, yeah, so that's what I'm into right now.
What motivated that?
My uncle bought one of the, I'm very impressionable. I do whatever I see someone doing, I like to do, so my uncle had one.
Uncle has the didgeridoo.
Yep.
I might have to try this out. So music, did that come easy too? I mean, was that just something like you sat down and you're playing the trumpet, right? Or saxophone?
Saxophone, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was number one in the band. Oh man, I scored again. I was number one in the band up until I think my 6th grade year, and then that's because I was like starting to focus a little bit more on sports, so I wasn't practicing as much and everything.
But that's cool, it's still a part of your life. You still, you're playing the didgeridoo, you still pick up the saxophone every now and then?
I have 2 saxophones at my house, so yeah, I'll pick it up every once in a while.
Do you ever do it for the team? Like, do the guys ever ask? They're like, Joe, can you bring out the saxophone?
No, they never.
Like, get us pumped up.
I honestly,
Valley West?
I don't even think they know.
Oh
I
man,
play
this would be
saxophone.
great when they find
Yeah, I'll have to look.
They did tell me you're kind of you're fun. They said you're a little crazy was what they, I want to say crazy was maybe the word. Would you agree with their assessment that you like to have fun, you like to have a good time?
Yeah, I like to just do funny stuff. I mean, you only have one life. You might as well live it right.
Is it hard to?
Dang it.
Do you feel like you're getting the hang of it a little bit though?
A little bit on offense. You gotta go quick on offense.
All right, well then I'm gonna let you do something that was very magical back in the day too. Just hit the reset button over there to the right of the. Yeah, there you go. There we go. All right, we're gonna start over from scratch. You got a little hang of it now?
Yeah.
All right. Now, saying all that, what are your goals, man? I mean, you've been so. I heard when I was talking with Coach, you said you were thinking maybe college for track. I mean, what are your goals though? I mean, do you want to get to the highest level?
I actually committed to Brown University.
That's awesome.
For track. So
I have no idea what I picked, but I take it's a pass because I have Dan Marino and in the shotgun. And then track comes along, and it's Michael Casadas who talks you into it.
Yeah, Michael. He actually told Nolan Janisevich to come out, and I was like, you might as well go out with him, you know.
So he didn't ask you. He
No,
asked Nolan.
yeah, he didn't even ask me.
All right, so do you ever call Michael to be like, hey man, thanks because I'm going to Brown University and I really appreciate what you told me?
Yeah, I'm always talking to him because he's up at Cheney University. Okay. So he always posting stuff on his Snapchat.
Oh man, that's a big fourth down conversion right there.
He's always posting stuff on his Snapchat about track, and I'm always asking him questions. He calls me every once in a while, just let him know what's going on in my life.
So you started doing the jumping events, right? Mm-hmm. So you were doing high jump and this and that, and I'm reading and I saw you go to state for javelin last. So how did that happen? How did you get into the throwing events?
I was at...
Oh, shh. It is not B. I think it's A to switch your receivers.
I was at Whispering Willows. It's a park down in the valley.
Okay. And
my friend Jarrod Spencer, he was a senior that year. He was throwing jav, and he said that, or I said I could probably throw farther than you, and he was like, oh, there's no way you could throw farther than me. So I picked up a stick down there and I threw it, and everyone was laughing at me, and I'm like, you'll see one day. So then my sophomore year, when he PR'd, the meet he PR'd in, I beat him. I beat his PR, so I got to throw it all up to Jarrod there.
So it all started with a stick.
Yep.
So Brown University, man, Ivy League. So you're obviously doing well in school too. Did you always like studying in that, or is this academically?
I've always been
academic career.
Yeah, I've always been good academically. When I was in 8th grade, I actually had the highest GPA in my 8th grade class. They gave me $500.
Really?
So after that, I was like, you know what?
That's a good way to motivate.
Yeah.
What'd you do with the $500? Did your parents let you spend some of it, or?
Eventually, it got spent. I had it in the bank for a while, but.
Because of the actual subject matter, I think this might be Bo Jackson's first touchdown, and I'm losing. This is happening.
Oh man.
All right. Now you can see the awesome celebration of Bo Jackson. He's the man. I mean, I always like Bo. I mean, I was going to set up the story by saying you're like the Bo Jackson of the Hazleton area high school. Would you agree with that assessment?
You could say that if you want to. Yeah. Sports definitely teach you that you have to put in hard work all the time if you want to succeed in something, because I mean, although stuff does come easy to me, it's not like I'm just going out here. I come to practice every single day, and you really have to give it your all if you want to see rewards and see success.
How much do you think is your attitude when you say things come easy to me? Do you think sometimes people could mentally block themselves out and get them hyped? Like, do you think if someone else was just like, I'm not saying they can naturally do it and go to Brown University for it, but do you think maybe more people should be open to, yeah, I'll give the javelin a try?
Yeah, definitely. You have to try new things. I mean, you'll never know. If you're sticking to one thing, you'll never know what you're good at. So it's definitely important to try crazy stuff like that.
Did you watch the Bo Jackson documentary?
Yeah.
So you knew about like the Bo knows this and
Yep.
Bo knows that.
Yep.
Does Joe know cooking? Like what else can you do? Can you cook?
I cannot cook.
No?
The only thing I can cook is maybe toast. I can cook ramen. I like ramen.
Nice.
Like I play, but usually I don't play. There you go. There it is.
All right, it's getting serious now. Does this give you a good feel, nostalgic for the 80s, what life maybe was like? Or?
I like it.
Look at this halftime show.
Looks good.
Like look at these graphics. Wait a minute, I mean look at the hair.
Yeah.
It's great, man. You lost this game. Would you feel you could practice again and do a rematch?
If I practiced, I think I could beat you. I just got to figure out. I think I could get it down.
All right, man. Hey, well, this was a pleasure being with you.
Thank
you
you
so much, man. Up next, we visit a sports psychologist to talk about a philosophy he calls mind of the athlete. Clearer mind, better performance.
Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching Out of Left Field. Well, since we started this show, I've been looking to do an interview with a sports psychologist, but honestly, I was having trouble finding one. Then someone gave me Dr. Jarrod Spencer's card. So I made the trip to his office to see what his story was all about. It says in his card, actually.
If you Google Allison Schmidt, you can learn all about the Olympic gold medal she's won, and you'll see a ton of pictures of her smiling from ear to ear. You'll also find article after article with her talking about battling depression. The stories are haunting, disturbing, and important. Schmidt also shares her story in Dr. Jarrod Spencer's book, Mind of the Athlete, Clearer Mind, better performance.
The central message I share again and again with everything I do is clear mind, better performance. And the clearer a person's mind is, the better their performance is going to be. And that is not about sports. That is about life. That's about everything. And so if we want to be the best version of ourselves, then we've got to work on the 6 inches between our ears. We've got to deal with the emotionality of life. And how do we do that? We talk about our stuff as much as we possibly can, and we equip ourselves with a lot of skills and knowledge that can come from books and videos that can give us that little bit of the mental edge by having the technique to deal with whatever it is that's coming at us.
Spencer, whose office is in Bethlehem, felt a call to help athletes. His mission is to not just help them climb the medal stand, but to help them climb out of bed every day happy and ready to face whatever is in front of them. $15,000 fans. That's how many people helped make Easton vs. Phillipsburg one of the biggest rivalries in high school football in the country. That's 15,000 sets of eyes watching your every move on the field. It can be a lot of pressure on a high school student. Phillipsburg, New Jersey. That's where Dr. Jarrod Spencer grew up playing football and wrestling.
I had the blessing of growing up in Phillipsburg, New Jersey, where sports have a significant role in the community. But at the same time, I had the highs and lows, right? So competing in front of 15,000 fans for a high school football rivalry game with Easton was significant, or a wrestling match with 3,500 fans. And so what I did there was either going to have like an impact positively if it was something really good, and I also experienced some of the not so good as well. And the emotional highs and lows that sports gave to me, it kind of made me wonder back then. I would have conversations with God saying, why am I going through all this? And I realize now I was being prepared to become a sports psychologist. In the end, I learned so many amazing lessons from my athletic journey at Phillipsburg and then later at Lafayette College. And I was able to take all of the positive, good messages from that journey and really be able to impart them to others as well. So that's how it started off and what I love about it.
Spencer was a captain on 2 state championship wrestling teams, and he also was a successful running back at Lafayette College. The wins on the mat and the yards on the field are a big part of his story, but so is his spirituality.
Because we've got this amazing body and the mind, it's so powerful, but yet there's something deeper, there's something more, and it's spiritual. And so I really think that helping individuals with that deep part, that spiritual part, resonates with my passion to really help them holistically. Ravi Zacharias is a Christian apologist, and he had this great quote. He once said, "The saddest day in a person's life is the day after they achieve the thing that they think is going to bring them ultimate fulfillment, and they wake up the next day and they realize they're still empty inside." And so what I see a lot in athletics are athletes chasing this deep fulfillment from some accomplishment. But if you actually look at the research for people post-Olympics, there's a lot of post-Olympic depression because they realize, I'm still the same person, it hasn't changed my life all that much, and it didn't really provide what I thought it was going to provide. So at that point along the journey, especially, the spiritual becomes important. So if I can help somebody achieve what they want athletically by learning about the mind, but in the process really draw them nearer to God, then what I'm doing is I'm helping them avoid that big fall at the end.
From Olympic hopefuls to Olympic champions to second-string JV offensive tackles, Spencer says sports psychology is for everyone.
It does happen at all levels. And that is why sports psychology for our high school crowd, even for our youth crowd, is so relevant today. Sports are more emotional now than we've ever seen before, and they play a significant part in a person's social identity, in the family dynamics, in the structure, in a person's friend group. And so when sports end, or whether there's a high achievement early on in life, it's still occurring at a phase in a person's life when they really don't yet have this psychological skill set or capacity to effectively deal with the intense emotionality that's coming from sports today. So this is very much as real for the youth athlete as it is for the Super Bowl Olympic athlete, or even for the recreational athlete later on in life who's still trying to actively engage in some form of athleticism that's going to bring an element of completeness to their life. But at least from my vantage point, working with athletes today, we're talking about a 15 to 25-year-old population for the large part, and they're struggling with relationship issues, verbal skills, intimacy skills, emotional intimacy skills, eyeball to eyeball, face to face, conflict resolution. The cell phone and social media have really changed so much of their skill sets. And they've got wonderful strengths in other areas, but there's some increasing deficits in others that definitely impact the mind and emotions.
Spencer also wants to help coaches.
And so we've got to equip and empower the coach with the necessary skills so that they can understand the red flags of mental health in their student athletes. For example, oftentimes the unspoken, unwritten rule within athletics is don't whine, don't complain, don't show any negative emotions, just suck it up, deal with it, and pretend like nothing's going on, and then we'll call you tough. But I think for the coaches that send the messages out to their student athletes and saying, toughness isn't necessarily just that. Toughness is some of that when appropriate, but also the ability to emote and to let me know when you really are injured, when you're hurting, when there's something going on. Maybe mom and dad are separated and divorcing. Maybe your brother's struggling with some substance abuse at the moment. Maybe you just found out that the finances for college aren't likely to be what you thought, and therefore you've got to change your game plan. These are real life issues that maybe a coach doesn't need to be fully aware of, but at least some degree of allowing an athlete to be vulnerable and expressive might elicit, optimally, a little empathy and compassion from the coach, who could then understand, okay, maybe for this athlete today, I want to back off just a little bit. Or in this situation, this athlete's doing really well, so I know that I can really push them a little bit more.
Talking with Spencer, you can tell he believes that when it comes to sports psychology, there's a lot more at stake than just wins and losses.
I got a phone call here at the office a few years ago, and it was from a mother. And she said, look, I just want to call and leave a message for you guys. My son came downstairs and he was crying. And he said to me, Mom, I have to tell you that I was just upstairs and I was seriously considering suicide. And I didn't really want to do it, and I was on YouTube and I was searching around and I found the video. In fact, there's like hundreds of videos by this guy, Dr. Jarrod Spencer, and I started watching some of them and I realized like there's hope out there. And there's people that understand what I'm going through as a stressed out athlete, and I don't want to commit suicide anymore, but I do want to get help. And the mom left that voicemail at the office, and that really touched my heart a lot, because I realized that whether I'm working with a person directly or a team, or whether it's a video that I created years ago, we never know when that message is going to positively impact a student athlete, and that's the most rewarding part, is when I hear that somehow, some way, some part of my advocacy changed a life.
Coming up next, we spend some time with Kelsey Resnick, a local athlete who got the call to be a member of the U.S. Under-17 field hockey national team.
Out of Left Field is brought to you in part by Coordinated Health Hazleton Campus. Better together.
Hi again, and thanks for your time. I know how valuable it is. In fact, that's what our next story is all about: time. The life of a high-level athlete can be very hectic, and every second counts.
Kelsey Resnick left the STX Select Field Hockey Tournament wondering if her future would be changed forever by a call to the United States Under-17 national team. About a week earlier, she was named a National Field Hockey Coaches Association second-team All-American. About a month before that, she was playing for a state championship with her high school, Wyoming Seminary. It was a hectic 2017, and she didn't have to wait long to see that things weren't going to calm down in 2018.
We were actually on the car ride home from the tournament. They came out with the list that quickly, which was really surprising for us. And I just freaked out. I was so happy. I couldn't contain myself because I was in the car, so I couldn't jump around or move or anything. But I called my friend Danny, and I told her, and she was so happy for me, and it was just a great feeling to finally make it.
About 2 weeks after the big news, Reznick got her driver's license. 2 weeks after that, she was on a plane to San Francisco to train with the U17 national team ahead of their trip to Uruguay for competition. About 7 years before all of this, Reznick brought home a flyer about field hockey camp to show her parents. Athletes always seem to be fighting time. You only have so many minutes to try and win a game, and you only have so many minutes in a day to train, do schoolwork, and try to have a social life.
Right after Christmas, you're at a tournament. This is a year-round thing, obviously, for you. You're managing academics at a school with high academic standards like Wyoming Seminary. Is it a challenge? Is it fun? What's your life like?
It's very busy. You can ask any of my friends. I don't have a lot of social time. I do make time for my friends, but I'm very busy with field hockey, and then I do physical training, and I have school and homework, and it's a lot of late nights, but it all pays off. It's worth it.
What do you do to relax? I mean, is there something? Are you into something? Do you watch Netflix every now and then? How do you unwind?
I sometimes watch Netflix. I don't have any time, honestly. I like to sleep. When I get sleep, that's a good thing.
It doesn't seem like Reznick would be able to sit still long enough anyway to binge watch Stranger Things. She's been an athlete since she was little. Reznick was making a name for herself on the Hazleton YWCA swimming team long before she brought home that field hockey flyer from school. A flyer she showed to her dad.
At first, I didn't think he was going to let me play. I got a flyer from my elementary school in 4th grade, and I just went to him and asked him to play. And at first I didn't think he'd say yes, but he finally agreed, and I'm happy he did.
What was the transition like for you, being successful in the pool? I mean, have you always had success at field hockey? Was there an adjustment period?
With me, I feel like just have like that athletic nature, like background, but in the beginning, of course, I had to do like a lot of work. There were a lot of girls that were like a lot better than me up until probably around 7th and 8th grade. That's like when I finally like found like myself, I guess, in my playing. That's when I took it a lot more seriously, and I changed clubs, and I started working in the Futures program, and that's like what helped me get to this point today.
Here's what Reznick tries to do with her time on the field.
So a lot of times, a lot of girls, like when you get to this like higher national level, they look for like flashy stick skills and stuff, but like as I've gone through the process, my coaches have noticed, and what makes me, I guess, like stand out from people is I have a good hockey IQ, and that's kind of what I use to my strength. Like I know where people are on the field, and I work on making other people look good, which in turn makes myself look good.
What advice are you giving, or do you still think about from like a coach or your parents or something that still goes in your brain as you move through all these levels? High school, you play for a state championship, you're going to a national team.
So my club coach, Brian Hope, he always tells me to keep it simple, because like I said before, I'm not like a super flashy player. That's not who I am. Like I work to make other people look good, and when I start getting in my head and like trying to like impress people, that's when like things don't go my way. And as long as I keep it simple and play my game, that's when I do the best.
It hasn't been all medals and plaques for Reznick. There have been some tough times.
2 years ago at the National Futures Tournament, I got in. This was the first time that I was really in with like a lot of the really good girls, and I went through the first practice and I felt so out of it, and I came to my car with my dad and I just started crying, and I was like, Dad, I can't do it, like they're so much better than me. And he was like, just play your game, like you know what you're doing, just be confident. And I think I've been building off that from there.
Reznick has been building to this moment. It's her time on the national stage. Meanwhile, back on a much smaller stage, this year's round of flyers about a field hockey camp will go out to another generation of students.
What advice would you give to some young girls coming up?
I would say go for it. Just always be open to try different things. You'll never know if you love it, if you hate it. It's just always good to experience new things, and make sure you give 100% effort. Don't be down on yourself. Make sure you're confident and trust yourself and your abilities.
100% effort all the time. That's how Reznick is getting to the prime time of her career.
Time's up on this episode of Out of Left Field, but it's all good because you can keep the fun going online by watching past episodes at ssptv.com and by using the Samsung Productions app. That's it for now though, so take it easy.